The Premier meets with the federal ag minister over Chinese canola tariffs. The province opens up more housing units. And a severe storm hits central Saskatchewan.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Premier Scott Moe has confirmed he is headed to China in a few weeks to help in canola tariff negotiations. Now, today he met with the federal agriculture minister along with industry leaders to map out a plan moving forward. Keenan Sorkon has the details.
Speaking just steps away from labs that were key into the development of canola, Premier Scott Moe and the federal government are warning about the different tone and approach necessary to navigate through Chinese canola tariffs.
We have tools at our disposal. We know your value, and we're going to work hand in hand with the government of Saskatchewan to see what we can do to mitigate the situation in the days ahead.
A little different approach in how you advance the conversation and advance the relationship. This one, it's our view that needs to advance and advance very rapidly.
Moe says he will be traveling to China in the next few weeks with hopes of another trip by the end of the year. The plan thus far is to focus on domestic policy to support Western Canadian farmers, increase market access, and potential changes to regulations. But everyone was tight-lipped until the Prime Minister is able to make those announcements.
It isn't going to be Premier Moe and President Xi that stand up and say, we've come to a trade deal here and everything is good moving forward. It is going to be the Prime Minister of Canada, Prime Minister Carney, and President Xi.
Free and unfettered access to trade is not looking very promising right now. We are in a different geopolitical context.
Farmers are looking for any help they can get, and we're pleased with the progress made Thursday.
Coming into harvest, it's urgent for farmers. We need action, and we need it now.
Moe fears these tariffs could drag on for years instead of months. And while no country can replace the amount of canola China buys, he says there's opportunity in this struggle. Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
A 29-year-old woman from Carrie the Kettle First Nation is dead after a two-vehicle collision in the RM of Wolseley on Tuesday night. Around 8 p.m., RCMP received a report of a collision involving a car and a semi at Range Road 2104 and Township Road 172. A passenger in the car, the 29-year-old woman, was declared deceased on scene. The driver of the car, along with 3 other passengers, were taken to hospital with injuries. The driver of the semi did not report any injuries. RCMP are investigating the circumstances around the collision. A Regina man has been charged with attempted murder following an incident in the George Gordon First Nation yesterday. Mounties called to a home in the community Tuesday morning for reports of an injured woman. Investigators say an altercation between the man, who was armed, and the woman led to her being shot. In addition to the attempted murder charge, 24-year-old Xavier Worm is also facing 1 count of discharging a firearm with intent, possession without a license, as well as resisting arrest. Worm made his first court appearance this morning. Métis Nation Saskatchewan has declared a state of emergency, saying alcohol, drugs, gangs, and violence are devastating Métis communities across the province. MNS calls the situation a province-wide epidemic, with additions fueling a cycle of incarceration and broken families. It says it is willing to work with the provincial and federal governments to provide supports to address the emergency and establish solutions to stop addictions and violence. It says discussions are already underway with communities near Batoche to establish a land-based treatment facility. On Wednesday morning, firefighters responded to a call about a house on fire on south shores of the Buffalo Pound Lake. The house, which is located near the Buffalo Pound campground, was engulfed in flames and took 8 firefighters, 2 fire trucks, and 9 hours to put out. Now, according to the Moose Jaw Professional Firefighters Association, no one was hurt, and the cause still remains unknown. The province is working towards renovating more of its housing units, opening another batch of the upgraded homes in Regina today. Sierra D'Souza Butts has the details.
6 social housing units in Regina have reached completion, finishing phase 3 of a 115-unit project.
Nice to see some big families get some homes instead of just sitting on the wait list.
The 2-bedroom housing unit was rebuilt and designed to accommodate 6 larger family households at Regency Gardens. The $3.3 million investment was funded by the provincial and federal governments, with Ottawa's contribution coming from the National Housing Strategy's Community Housing Initiative, aiming to provide affordable affordable housing to families in communities in need across the country.
And that makes it more attractive to come to the city, even knowing that you know, even if you don't have the means to work or to rent in the market, that there is options out there.
It's part of the Canada-Saskatchewan bilateral agreement, which will invest $585 million over 10 years into multi-year repair and renovation projects.
A couple of the major projects that we have underway around in the three cities right now, Saskatoon, Regina, and Prince Albert, are the Bryant Place project in Prince Albert. We have Westview Place project in Saskatoon, and Prairie Place here in Regina. And Prairie Place project here in Regina is seniors.
According to the Ministry of Social Services, they operate over 17,000 social housing units across the province and is investing $9.2 million in new funding for 285 units.
What we're attempting to do, especially in Regina, is realign what the needs are with what we have for inventory and renovate and renew existing housing stock to reflect those needs.
As of March, the federal government has committed $65 billion to create and repair nearly 500,000 housing units across Canada. Sierra D'Souza Butts, CTV News, Regina.
Speaking outside Yorkton Regional Hospital this week, the NDP is painting a grim picture of Saskatchewan's health care. The NDP's critic for rural and remote health, Jared Clark, says healthcare services aren't there when people need them. The NDP believes inefficient staffing is the reason for the surge we're seeing in healthcare service disruptions.
In the first 18 months of Scott Moe's leadership as Premier, there was 86 service disruptions across the province in our hospital systems. If you fast forward now to the most recent 18 months, we've seen 643 disruptions across the province. This is an 8-fold increase.
In its response to CTV News, the government of Saskatchewan said that since the launch of their Health Human Resources Action Plan, Yorkton has seen an additional 15 healthcare professionals hired. They added that the SHA implemented several strategies to stabilize access to ER services that included the virtual physician program. Well, harvest is a bit behind schedule, progress slowing down this past week due to rain and thunderstorms. According to the Ministry of Agriculture, on top of rain and storms, humid mornings made for short harvest days as farmers look forward to higher temperatures this week. Provincial harvest progress is at 3%, behind the 5- and 10-year average. By region, southwest Saskatchewan furthest along at 8%. Crop damages this week were caused by Bertha armyworms in certain areas, and yes, grasshoppers are starting to have more of a presence in the province. Well, quite an intense thunderstorm rolled through central Saskatchewan yesterday, bringing lightning, tennis ball-sized hail, strong winds, and possible tornadoes. CTV's Stacey Hine shows us some of the aftermath.
A jarring experience for those in the sky. This plane traveling through the storm that swept over Saskatoon and parts of central Saskatchewan. The light show keeping people on the ground wowed.
It was quite like a scary, exciting experience. We just kept going outside, kept checking it out, and didn't even look real. It was crazy.
Heard a lot of thunder, and there was a lot of lightning, and the wind would pick up.
For Jared Roosh, it was more entertaining than his TV screen.
Me and my fiance were sitting on the couch watching TV, and then I got a weather alert on my phone, and I was like, oh, we gotta go look outside. It took us like 3 hours to watch that 1-hour episode.
Environment Canada says the storm developed west of the Battlefords and tracked along the Yellowhead Highway. It's considered a supercell, the most powerful type of storm.
Not uncommon to see these storms in the summertime in Saskatchewan, but the one last evening was particularly intense.
The system bringing tennis ball-sized hail to the Langham and Radisson areas. This is Bruce Lee's windshield after being hit with hail west of the Battlefords. That area seeing golf ball-sized hail, while loony-sized hail was reported in communities north of Saskatoon. Environment Canada says it's investigating possible tornadoes both in the Martinsville and Middle Lake areas. The Battlefords seeing the strongest wind gusts Wednesday at 129 kilometers per hour.
So really impressive to get that kind of wind recorded. So again, just kind of speaks to how intense this supercell was.
Anyone with information on this storm is encouraged to contact Environment Canada. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Sabine joins us for our first look at weather, and things a lot more calmer this evening across Saskatchewan.
Yeah, much more calmer, though we still have seen those wind gusts not as high as what Stacey was talking about, but did see those winds gusting up to about 55, 60 kilometers an hour. That will continue as we head into tomorrow. But as you can see behind me on the radar satellite, just like Lee said, quite calmer than what we did see yesterday in parts of Saskatchewan. Now, as we head into tomorrow, there will be a little bit of a dip in the temperatures, but today proved to be just right, just like Goldilocks. We didn't see those temperatures too cold or too hot. We don't have those extreme heat warnings in effect anymore in the province. Temperatures currently sitting just below what the average is, which is normally about 25, 26 degrees. And we actually got right in that range at 24.9 late this afternoon. And our low was a little warmer than the average. But like I said, as we head into tomorrow, we could see those temperatures dip a little lower than what the seasonal is. But I'll have all those details coming up in your full forecast.
All right, thank you, Sabine. We'll let you get back to the porridge. Water meters still remain a bit of an issue with the city and users of water meters. The latest development, the city will be charging a $50 fee per month to users who do not complete the transition to the new advanced metering infrastructure system. Members of the Water Meter Alliance have been receiving letters from city with differing messages. Gret Hansen is one of many that has been part of the alliance and says that some water meters are being charged with hundreds or thousands of dollars extra on their water bills.
But the letters have been slightly different. It's either we're going to cut your water off, we may cut your water off, we're going to charge you $50 a month when they were getting the new water meters put in, instead of actually doing a pilot project to figure out if there was going to be problems. The manual reading is a good backup to have.
City of Regina did not submit a statement in time to CTV News about the letters. A Saskatoon man has been convicted of second-degree murder for the second time. CTV's Laura Woodward has more on a judge's ruling.
Brandon Brick has once again been found guilty in the 2018 shooting death of James Chasen. Surveillance video showed Chasen getting into Brick's car outside a 7-Eleven at 22nd Street West and Avenue P North. A Crown witness testified that Brick shot him when he was inside the vehicle. The Crown says Brick targeted Chasen because he was in a rival gang. Brick was convicted of second-degree murder in 2020 but was granted a new trial by Saskatchewan's Court of Appeal after claiming his lawyers didn't give him an opportunity to testify. But when he did take the stand, claiming this was a drug deal gone wrong, the judge didn't buy it, calling his testimony unbelievable and that the mechanics of the shooting described by Brick defy physics. The judge ruled the Crown had proven beyond a reasonable doubt that Brick had the state of mind for murder. Second-degree murder comes with a life sentence with no chance of parole for at least 10 years. He's scheduled to be sentenced in September. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Owners of a downtown apartment complex in Prince Albert are asking the city to forgive interest and penalties on their property tax in hopes of revitalizing the area. Jasmine Pelche has that story.
The owners of a boarded-up apartment building on 13th Street West in Prince Albert are asking City Council for help reopening.
We're asking the city if they can forgive the penalties and interest portion that we owe for the property tax arrears. Not all of it. We're willing to pay for the actual property taxes that we do owe.
Her family owns the building and says they want the city to forgive penalties and interest so they can afford much-needed building repairs, including plumbing and electrical updates. The 30-unit building closed 6 years ago due to gang activity, but the family thinks now is the right time to try again.
We have a new mayor. We also have new city council members, and we're hoping that we can ride on the tailwind of that change and see if we can add a little bit more love to this much-needed street.
They hope that bringing the building back into operation will help revitalize the area near the Gateway Mall and provide some relief for the city's housing shortage.
We're also hoping, though, that we'll get support from the police and the bylaw and every other community members to help us out and just watch out for each other.
The city has not given a yes or no answer, but says the owners will have to consult with the city's planning and development department.
Since 2020, there's been moves to renovate that building, and everybody's interested in seeing it repurposed. So planning and development, as always, are going to work as hard as they can to support whatever initiative for downtown is being considered.
For the time being, the building remains boarded up. Jasmine Pelche, CTV News, Prince Albert.
City of Saskatoon has moved ahead with a planned eviction of a community garden that stirred up a bit of controversy earlier this month. The Rotary Community Garden on 19th Street, situated on a lot that's been vacant for decades, was moved to a new location down the street this morning. The eviction ends a back and forth between a garden and the city over the contaminated lot. Last month, the city learned from Imperial Oil, which owns adjacent land and used to own that plot of land, was remediating the land for future developments. City Council has learned this could save the city $500,000, but the community garden would need to be sacrificed. And ultimately, the city was able to work with residents and find a new home for the garden in time for harvest.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, as they say. Lack of stakeholder engagement became apparent to council that had caused them a large problem.
Mappin says the city is also going to relocate an irrigation line to keep the garden at its new location for at least 1 year. Still ahead, Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister is in the U.S. talking trade and tariffs. And is Air Canada disregarding regulations when it comes to rebooking customers? Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister and her U.S. counterpart met in person for the first time today. The two discussed the wars in Ukraine and Gaza, countering China, and then the Prime Minister and President spoke by phone. CTV's Judy Trin has the latest on the Canadian-U.S. relations.
This is the first in-person meeting between Secretary of State Marco Rubio and Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand. The State Department says the two discussed Haiti, Hamas, peace negotiations between Russia and Ukraine, and countering China. The U.S. trade war wasn't in the readout, but analysts say it likely loomed over the talks.
In Donald Trump's world, everything is linked to everything else. And so if Canada's in a place of disagreement with the U.S. on Ukraine or on Gaza or on Haiti, then that's not something that will be helpful to the negotiations.
An example of this, on July 31st, Trump posted that Canada's intention to recognize a Palestinian state would make it difficult to make a trade deal. A day later, Trump imposed 35% tariffs on Canadian goods not covered under the North American Trade Agreement. Earlier this week, Anand traveled to Finland to meet with Nordic foreign ministers to discuss how to support Ukraine's push for security guarantees. Before the meeting, CTV News asked Anand if U.S. trade tensions put pressure on Canada to align with American interests.
The work that we're doing together is to ensure that the dialogue between our two countries along multiple issues remains open and strong. And thus far, we have had this very strong relationship.
Anand didn't answer questions about the state of trade negotiations, but today, some movement as the Prime Minister spoke to the President. The readout describes their conversations as productive and wide-ranging. They discussed trade challenges and long-term peace and security for Ukraine. The Prime Minister's office says the two leaders agreed to reconvene their conversations. Meanwhile, Carney is planning to travel to Mexico in mid-September to meet with President Claudia Sheinbaum. The two plan to find common ground so they can fight back against Trump's trade war. Judy Trin, CTV News, Washington.
A day after an end to the Air Canada flight attendant strike and with more aircraft taking off, CTV News has been hearing from passengers. They're telling CTV News they are frustrated by what they see as Air Canada's inability and apparent unwillingness to book them on the next available flight home. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more on the complaints and the future of regulations to protect consumers.
The Britton family's European summer adventure ended with their scheduled flight home with Air Canada canceled.
It felt like at every step of the way, instead of trying to provide a solution, it was, you can have a refund. Please have a refund. And we knew that that was really just a way of them absolving themselves of the responsibility.
According to the Canadian Transportation Agency's regulations, if an airline can't rebook you on their airline following a cancellation, a customer may choose a reservation from the next available flight that is operated by any carrier. The Britons found the next available tickets on a United flight from Italy to Kelowna. Air Canada declined to book them.
They said they didn't have access to it.
Stuck in Lisbon, Kyla Kumar also reached out to CTV News after Air Canada refused to rebook her family on a Delta flight home.
Very clear refusal to book us on another carrier.
CTV News also received an audio recording of an Air Canada agent refusing to rebook a customer because there was only a business class seat available.
You are required to put me in that space.
That is something you can take up with customer relations to see why is that not being offered, because on our end we have to maintain the same cabin.
If only business class seats are available on next available flight, they have to rebook you.
Passenger advocates say Air Canada is knowingly breaking federal regulations for financial gain.
There is sufficient ground here to lay criminal charges.
Somebody should be doing an outreach to the CTA and say, okay, guys, how are you going to handle this one?
CTV News did ask the Canadian Transportation Agency what they're doing to hold Air Canada responsible for breaking federal passenger protection regulations. The CTA didn't directly answer the question, saying in part that their enforcement team is actively looking into the situation and will take appropriate action as necessary.
The CTA is supposed to be the regulatory body that protects Canadian citizens. And again, these things happen, and there's really been no improvements.
CTV News has given Air Canada 2 days to respond to our questions. They've yet to return our email. Adrian Gabriel, CTV News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Well, Saskatchewan was not the only province hit by severe storms yesterday. In Alberta, a powerful storm hit the city near Brooks, brought heavy rain, baseball-sized hail, and winds so strong that actually knocked some power lines to the ground. RCMP say a vehicle with people inside actually became trapped under a live power line that collapsed, but they were rescued safely. The storm swept through several communities in the region, resulting in road closures and some damaged vehicles. And police in Alberta sounding the alarm after to catch a predator-style scheme led to the alleged abduction of a 12-year-old boy.
There are numerous youth, ages 12, 13, so quite young, that have been involved in a catch the predator scheme.
So police say a group of at least 7 youth allegedly arranged a meeting with someone they met on Snapchat. One youth got into the suspect's vehicle as a second youth recorded the interaction. The suspect then drove away. The youth eventually escaped from the vehicle when it stopped at a red light. A 37-year-old Calgary man is now facing charges and is set to appear in court. A Montreal teen accused of planning a terrorist attack on behalf of the Islamic State is facing new charges after the RCMP alleged he assaulted a police officer following his arrest. The 17-year-old, who cannot be identified under the Youth Criminal Justice Act, was arrested at his apartment in Montreal on Wednesday. He appeared in youth court today to face 3 terrorism-related charges. The RCMP alleged he had planned to acquire assault-style weapons with the intention of carrying out a mass casualty attack in Montreal on behalf of the terror group. The new charges are assault with a weapon causing bodily harm and assaulting a peace officer. Israel's prime minister says his country will immediately resume negotiations for the release of all hostages in the Gaza Strip, as well as an end to the war, but on terms that are agreeable to Israel. Hamas has already accepted the temporary ceasefire proposal, but forwarded by Egypt and Qatar. At the same time, the Israelis are proceeding with plans to seize all of Gaza City in what they say is an effort to defeat Hamas. Thousands of Palestinians have left their homes as Israeli tanks have moved closer to the city over the last 10 days. Yesterday, the military called up 60,000 reservists in a sign that the government was pressing ahead with the plan despite some international condemnation. They say a call-up is likely to take weeks. The United Nations is again calling for an end to the fighting.
I must reiterate that it is vital to reach immediately a ceasefire in Gaza and the unconditional release of all hostages, and to avoid the massive deaths and destruction that a military operation against Gaza City would inevitably cause.
Israel is also receiving criticism for approving a settlement project in the occupied West Bank that opponents say will effectively cut the territory in two. Canada was among more than 20 countries today that called on Israel to urgently retract the plan. They released a joint statement, Canada, that reads in part, the decision by the Israeli Higher Planning Committee to approve plans for settlement construction in the E1 area east of Jerusalem is unacceptable and a violation of international law. We condemn this decision and call for its immediate reversal in the strongest terms. And one person was killed, 15 others injured in what Ukraine says was one of Russia's biggest aerial attacks of the year. The Ukrainian Air Force says more than 570 drones and 40 missiles were fired overnight, mostly at western regions of the country where much of the military aid provided by Ukraine's western allies is believed to be delivered and stored. An American-owned electronics plant was among the targets hit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says it is believed this was a deliberate attack against U.S. property and investments in his country. Coming up, the city of Toronto is gearing up for the Gallagher Brothers reunion, the only Oasis tour stop in Canada.
Continue for those who frequent downtown. In the morning, we're getting an update from the city on this year's construction season and a look at the work being done.
News, weather, and traffic. It's everything you need. CTV Morning Live, weekdays 6 to 9.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at what you can expect for your forecast heading into this evening and into the weekend. Oh, yeah, it's Friday tomorrow. In terms of today, we did see a windy, warm day. It wasn't above seasonal like we have been seeing over the past couple of days. Your air conditioning probably got a little bit of a break because we saw those temperatures more in the seasonal range. 25 degrees is what we got up to today in Regina, currently sitting at 23. Winds still gusting into the 45 kilometers an hour, and the strong wind gusts will continue as we head into tomorrow. But the good news is that we have seen all those watches and warnings lift for central southern Saskatchewan. We are still seeing those rainfall warnings stay in place for northern Saskatchewan, the northeast, and those will most likely stay in effect until we head into tomorrow morning when we start to see this rain system start to clear out, and you can actually see that right here. So that's what's going to be bringing the rain into the north. We could see little parts of the parkland see some rain overnight tonight into the early morning hours of tomorrow. And then to start the day, many parts of the province expecting to start out with a little bit more cloud cover, and then we'll start to see things clear out as we get into late afternoon tomorrow. And then by tomorrow evening, you can see much of the province sitting with clear conditions. That'll continue as we head into the weekend as well, with those temperatures slowly inching back into that seasonal range. But tomorrow, certainly, many parts of the province could see those temperatures a little cooler than what the average normally is. As I mentioned earlier, about 25, 26 degrees is the average, depending on where you are in the province. So tonight we are back into the seasonal range for the lows, about 11 degrees for La Loche, Lloydminster, 12 for Prince Albert and La Ronge. And then tomorrow is where we will see some areas seeing those highs, daytime highs in about the high teens, like La Ronge and Prince Albert expecting to get up to 18 degrees tomorrow. 20 for La Loche, 21 and a mix of sun and cloud for Lloydminster. Saskatoon, 20 degrees tomorrow, 21 for North Battleford, but Yorkton expecting to be a little cooler. There's 17 with a mix of sun and cloud. In the southwest, still cooler than seasonal, and actually cooler tonight for Maple Creek at 9 degrees, warming to 22 for Maple Creek, Swift Current, and Moose Jaw tomorrow. All expecting to see a mix of sun and cloud. Same for the southeast. Weyburn, Estevan, 21 degrees, 22 for Assiniboia, and even tonight the lows there, clear conditions and still within the average range. Similar for us here in Regina. A mix of sun and cloud heading into tomorrow. Starting your day with a mix of sun and cloud, turning into mainly sunny conditions by late afternoon. 20 degrees is the expected daytime high tomorrow. But again, take note that the winds are expecting to be gusting up to about 60 kilometers an an hour. We will eventually see the winds start to calm as we approach the weekend, but tomorrow, one more day of winds, but mainly sunny conditions. 20 tomorrow. Cooler overnight lows expected over the weekend as well. So 21 on Saturday, mainly sunny with a low of 7 degrees. Sunday, sunny and 21 with a low of 6 degrees. And then we slowly get back into seasonal and above seasonal temperatures. They're not completely done yet. 24 and sunshine on Monday. Tuesday, sunshine and 27 degrees. By Wednesday, we could actually start inching closer to the 30-degree range, but as of right now, we're looking at 28 degrees as your expected daytime high. Mainly sunny conditions, and by Thursday, 27 and a mix of sun and clouds. So some of these temperatures actually into next week, we could still see those temperatures getting into the 30-degree range. As of right now, they're still sitting in the high 20s, but we're not completely in the clear when it comes to, I shouldn't say clear because I know many like the 30-degree temperatures. So they're not completely gone, but for the next couple of days, we will see a little cooler than average.
But what about Labor Day weekend? Any foresight in maybe getting 30s there?
As of right now, it's still looking like we could see mid to high 20s as the daytime highs, and there could be rain in the forecast. But again, we know how this all works. As we saw yesterday, systems come and go within a snap of a finger. So that could change between now and then.
Okay, we'll just have to wait then. Thanks, Sabine.
You bet.
Well, it's a concert that some music fans have waited more than a decade and a half for. The British band Oasis, that broke up back in 2009, is set to play 2 shows on Sunday and Monday in Toronto, the only Canadian stop on their reunion tour. Sean Lithong has more on the excitement and the big smoke.
Now, you have some of the regular merchandise. They have mugs over here that you can buy. Everything you can think of under the sun. But, I mean, if you're an Oasis fan, it's probably more of a shot glass. That's what you want. But the biggest items that we're seeing, the most valuable items and the ones that people are coming for, follow me this way. Now, these are the Oasis Adidas merchandise. You can see every time a new shift of people come inside here, they're going right for this, and they're flying off the shelf. But there's a lot of things to buy in this store. And I'll show you outside, we have some video of the lineup. The lineup is around the block for this place. It opened at 11 o'clock this morning. Some people were here as early as 7:30. And then when the doors finally opened, they stormed in here. People were grabbing as much merchandise as they possibly could. It's much different than just grabbing a shirt for yourself or maybe a hat for yourself and then moving on. People were buying for themselves. They were buying for other people. And the anticipation is huge for these 2 concerts that are coming up at Rogers Stadium. The first one on Sunday, the next one on Monday. But the pop-up store here will be here for a few days longer. It'll be closing actually next Wednesday, so they get a full week. Now, I talked to a few people who were shopping about what they got, and here's what they had to say.
It feels amazing. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's amazing. Yay! This, you know, I'm trying to actually cosplay as Liam on Sunday, so I was trying to go as much of a dark fit as humanly possible. Bucket hat, must have. Parka, must have. I'll bring the attitude as well.
It feels very exciting. It feels like I'm going to be the coolest person I know, at least for today. That's all I want.
Can you give the rundown of what you got?
I grabbed everything I saw that looked cute. So I grabbed a black Oasis shirt, a white Oasis shirt, a black Oasis shirt, lots of fun stuff, tour program, posters. I need a bigger house.
And the prices are no joke. You can see here, some of the prices are a water bottle, $35, mug, $20, a shot glass is $16. Now, if we move all the way over here, the actual merchandise as far as clothing goes, hoodies, $120, premium hoodie, $130, premium sweatshirts, $115, and $75 for a vest. So you will have a good time if you come here, but bring your wallet.
Still ahead, age is just a number for Trevor Harris as the Riders pivot continues to be one of the leading candidates for most outstanding player in the CFL.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
It appears Rider quarterback Trevor Harris is aging like fine wine. Despite having a bit of a retirement conversation with his family in the offseason, the 39-year-old is playing some of the best ball in his CFL career and is in the mix for the Most Outstanding Player award. Jacob Carr has more on the Pivot's high level of play that has elevated those around him.
Trevor
Harris has been racking up the yardage every which way this season, leading the green and white to a league-best 8-1 record. And at high level of play has the signal caller in discussions for the CFL's most outstanding player. Sportsbook Review currently has Harris with the third highest odds to take home the league honor, behind only Hamilton's Bo Levi Mitchell and Calgary's Vernon Adams Jr.
He's a complete quarterback. He does everything right, man. Doesn't make mistakes, doesn't really turn the ball over. He's an elite quarterback, and there's a reason why he's been in this league for so long. And it's crazy. We just had a conversation. He's just saying how proud of me he is and how he can tell I'm just completely feeling the game better the way I'm seeing coverage and stuff like that.
Robustelli told CTV News that Harris's pinpoint accuracy on his throws makes the receivers' jobs easier, and Harris says the ball placement is a form of communicating with his pass catchers.
And, should I tell our receivers, communication by location of the football a lot of times, which shoulder I throw it to is telling them where to run with after the catch. And so everything's about communication. And so if we're communicating at a high level, understanding what we're trying to do, then it's always going to make everything easier.
Robustelli says Harris approaches every practice as if it's Game 7 of a playoff series and expects the entire team to be dialed in at all times. And that has rubbed off on the second-year receiver.
Last year, I didn't really watch as much film, but seeing them and how long the quarterbacks, they all stay here till 5, 6, they're watching film all the time. So it just proves to show that, if you want to be an elite player, you got to watch film and put in that extra step. So been doing that this year, and it's been working out so far.
Now he's going to look for an end zone shot. Got it. Touchdown, Saskatchewan. Robustelli's got his first.
Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
Regina is hosting the top senior men's baseball teams this week. The festivities got started last night with the opening ceremonies and home run derby at Curry Field. From Thursday through Sunday, teams from across the country will be vying for the title of national champion. A tournament for organizers was a bit in jeopardy because of the flight disruptions.
The last 4 days were extremely challenging for 3 of the teams out east. So New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Quebec were all booked Air Canada. So it was amazing what they did in 2 or 3 days to get here, and we're so happy to have all 10 teams. It's almost a miracle that it all came together.
Games got underway today. Team Saskatchewan, they beat Quebec 4-3 in the morning. The host Regina Trappers, they're going to play Nova Scotia tonight at 7 p.m. Coming up, why are some tree leaves in Edmonton already turning fall colors?
Let's take a look at your rural forecast for tomorrow. And as we've been talking about, we will see those temperatures a little cooler than seasonal, including areas in eastern Saskatchewan, Hudson Bay, Melfort, and Wynyard. Cloudy and seeing those temperatures in the mid to high teens. Spiritwood also 18 degrees with a mix of sun and cloud. And then we get into the 20s for areas like Watrous, Outlook, Kindersley, Lloydminster, and Meadow Lake, all still seeing a mix of sun and cloud when it comes to what type of conditions we could expect. The rain will most likely stay further up north, and then when we get closer to the southern border, same story as really much of the province. We will see a little bit more sunshine, clearer conditions down in East End Cypress, 19 for that area. And even in the east there, Kenora 16, 18 for Broadview and Carlisle, and then warmer for areas like Leader at 23, mainly sunny, and even down in Coronach, 22, and a mix of sun and cloud. If we take a closer look at La Loche, where internet speeds up to 1 gig are available through SaskTel tomorrow. Rainy today and even into tonight, but heading into tomorrow, we'll see more of that sunshine return for the area around La Loche. Warming up to about 19 degrees. Could be a little cooler than 19, but still in the high teens for your daytime high.
It's one of the reasons autumn is my wife's favorite season. Actually, it's Sabine's favorite season too, right, Sabine? Yeah, okay, yeah. The colorful fall foliage, those trees turning different colors. But in Edmonton, some trees are already starting to make that change, even though it's still summer. CTV's Merrick Tkach spoke to an expert to find out why.
Amongst the green, you may have recently noticed touches of yellow and red. Professionals are noticing it too.
There's all sorts of reasons. It's usually due to stress. So sometimes it's moisture stress, sometimes it's too much moisture.
This year, forester David Stevenson says dry conditions are causing the colors to change early.
The active growth season for many trees is May and June. And so you look at moisture stress during those months, and as you may recall, overall, June was quite dry.
CTV News Chief Meteorologist Josh Clausen says the shift in color does not mean fall is coming early.
There's a big upper ridge, so that's going to bring back some sunshine and some heat for the end of this week and all of next week as well. So it was a hot start to August. It'll be a hot end to August as well.
Although many areas have seen plenty of rain this summer, Clausen says there are exceptions.
If you look at Blatchford, July and August has been about half of average precipitation, but surrounding weather stations have all been around or even slightly above average.
Stevenson says to keep trees healthy, the best thing you can do in your yard or neighborhood is water them.
Especially if you've got a newly planted tree, to make sure that it is receiving water right through till the fall, after it's dropped its leaves. It needs that moisture that it then stores in the roots for the winter.
A season that remains 4 months away regardless of what color the trees are. Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
Markets in different directions today. The TSX went up 176 points, while the Dow Jones dropped by 152 points. Canadian dollar dropped about between 1/10 and 2/10 of a cent to 71.92 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold down $9.72. West Texas Intermediate crude up 81 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude almost up $1. It was up 90 cents today. And gas in Regina, we saw no movement, so most places, basically all of them, commonly for $1.35.9 per liter.
There's more opposition to a BC billionaire's push to take over lease agreements from the Bay. The team overseeing the credit protection case for the failed retailer says it doesn't think landlords should be forced to accept Ruby Lou as a tenant. Those landlords say Lou's team doesn't have retail experience and the timelines for renovation aren't realistic. Walmart missed on a key metric for the first time in 3 years. Earnings per share did not meet expectations. Now, that sent shares down today. But Walmart is still making money, reporting $177 billion U.S. in revenue in its latest quarter. The Quebec Liquor Board may throw $300,000 worth of American alcohol down the drain. Quebec pulled American bottles off store shelves when Washington imposed tariffs on Canada. Some of that inventory will expire, which is why it could be destroyed. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up after the newscast, we've got a Big Bang Theory rookie sandwich. Double-decker with the rookie. Hopefully you like Big Bang Theory for your bread. They were TV darlings in the 1990s. Now the cast of Dawson's Creek, they're reuniting this September.
Yeah, the cast is getting together for a live script reading of the show's pilot in support of the F Cancer organization, and one of the show's main casts, James Van Der Beek, who revealed last year that he was battling cancer. The main stars, Van Der Beek, Katie Holmes, Michelle Williams, and Joshua Jackson will reunite in New York City in September. I've already seen it all over social. So many fans of that show were so excited.
And was Van Der Beek, was his name Dawson?
I've never seen an episode.
Oh, either have I. Uh-oh. We'll have to...
I'm going to say yes.
Okay.
Right? Well. Anyways. Well, it seems it's not just people who like a sweet treat to cool off during the summer.
Police found a bear behind the counter in South Lake Tahoe on Sunday. Officers say the animal appeared particularly interested in the strawberry ice cream, but didn't seem to want to share. The bear didn't cause much damage and left. This is not the first ice cream stealing bear to visit that city. In May, a bear ran off with 3 gallons of chocolate chip cookie dough from a different parlor. They love their ice cream. So the question is, Sabine, what ice cream
mint chocolate chip
would you take even if a bear was there? You're like,
even if a bear was there?
No. Bear standing there to serve you.
I'm good. What would you take?
Cookies and cream, maybe. I might try to slide past the bear.
If a bear was still there?
Yeah.
You'd be like, hi, pardon me.
Just talk to him like Yogi. Hey, boo-boo-boo. Oh, God. Get some ice cream.